The show where there are no penalties, nothing is offside, and everything is fair game. This is The Gloves Are Off.
Hello and welcome to a special edition of The Gloves Are Off. I'm Moses Woldu, and of course we're going to celebrate Chuck Wagon Week. However, these guys are making me feel a little insecure. Why I did not wear my cowboy hat, but these guys have done so. Andrew Brethauer is not here today. Placing him as BJ Carey, Chuck Wagon driver here in town, and of course to his left is Brian. I was going to say Brian Laboucane, his son, Jamie Laboucane. Of course, you got a great historic tradition there, and you're looking to carry it on forward. How are you guys?
Good, thanks.
Very well. Sorry.
Phone's going off?
Yeah.
Oh, see, the popularity begins.
Party foul, right?
Well, it's all good. I want to say, of course, with this week, a very special time with the CPCA kicking things off. And I know you guys got to be excited for it. It's a special time. And I guess we'll kind of move forward with this whole topic, and it works out great for you guys. What does it mean for a CPCA driver to get in the finals and to get close? And I know, BJ, you've been there a few times. And Jamie, we were just talking about this. Your wagon was there. You weren't there. Unfortunately, you had an injury, but this time around, you're in the hunt. What does it mean for a Chuck Wagon driver to go to the CPCA finals?
Well, that's the plan right from the start of the year. You ask any wagon driver at the start of the year, maybe except for maybe a rookie. I mean, they'd still love to be there, but sometimes maybe that's not their goal. But that's every wagon driver's goal at the start of the season is, one, to do well in Calgary, and two, to be in that top four come the finals. So.
And BJ, like in terms of the aspect going into it, like is that obviously the strive for that makes total sense, but what does it mean for you to know you're kind of like in the thick of it and you're getting ready to race against the best that season?
Well, Jamie said it. You set your goals at the start of the year, and having raced in there a couple years and not being there this year is disheartening. But I mean, having the start I did, it's tough to get there. And I was in the heat with Jamie at Onion Lake, and I could be right beside Jamie, but I carried on with penalties in Onion Lake. So after Calgary, in Frog Lake, I had a good Frog Lake and continued to do well, but I just had to take off the same time Jamie did, and I didn't. And you have to run clean, and that's all there is to it. And my first half was below average, and that's what happens. With the competition there is out there now, if you're not clean and fast, you're not going to be in that top end of the competition.
And you guys are perfect examples of this, in particular, going from maybe slow starts to hot, to this hot streak, vice versa, you name it. How important is momentum getting into the finals? I'm sure being first is nice, but how important is it just to get that momentum going?
It's huge. It's if you go back to my big year of 2013. I had momentum right from the start, and I carried it right through the year. I think I won 5 shows that year, and coming to the final, I had momentum going. I won the race, but I hit my bottom barrel and pretty well fell out of my wagon. It was a muddy track, and it was driver error, and no bones about it. I went too close to my top barrel. I was wide at the top, and horses slipped a bit, and I tried bringing them back too tight, and it's driver error, and you have to take everything into consideration, and that's what happens. And so you have to be competitive. As lots of veterans say, you have to be aggressive, and I tried being too aggressive. So momentum is huge. Being aggressive is huge, and Jamie's doing that now, and it's working for him. It's paying off. And he should be there. He should be there Sunday if everything falls in his way.
BJ, what I'm grabbing from you or grasping from you is you have to kind of straddle that line of getting there, being aggressive, and then there's also that smart aspect of it. Jamie, I know you're not too far out of that top 4 going into this year. How important has it been for your second half success to do that? Be smart, but at the same time know that you got to get out of those, I guess, in that figure 8 fast enough.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny. Sometimes luck is with you and sometimes not. And any champion or somebody who has it, I mean, you got to have the good outfits. You got to drive well, but you got to have a little luck on your side too. And I had one of those starts of the season, like we talked about, that things just weren't going right. I couldn't do anything right at the start of the season. Then come Onion Lake, like BJ said, things started turning around for me. And after I came out of Calgary, I stuck, 4 not greener, I shouldn't say that, but different horses together and found a combination that worked, and that's been really paying off for me. And when you get a momentum streak going like that, you feel more comfortable in your horses, you feel more comfortable in your driving ability. You're not second guessing yourself like when you're struggling. So that helps bringing you through. But at the end of the day, like BJ said, it comes down to one final race, and whether you're at the top or the bottom, anything can happen in a wagon race, and it's just one race. So hopefully I can get there, but you can't count anything until that final day is over.
And what's beautiful about those 5 days is the racing and I guess the excitement. I'm not there. I'm not in the wagon, so that's good for me.
Yeah.
Because at least I could enjoy it from the sideline. I imagine for you guys, it's probably double that. One thing that'd be awesome is to have 5 days of sun. We'll talk about that a little bit later on the show. But let's actually get to our next topic and talk about, I guess, the not so sunny skies out in Regina right now. The Saskatchewan Roughriders 1-6, and it turns out Chris Jones might be losing his patience after the loss to the Calgary Stampeders. I guess, with the normal handshakes that you have with the head coaches, decided to go after Dave Dickinson and tell him, hey, win with some class. And Dave Dickinson retorted with, holy expletive, and understandably so. Like, what was going on within that conversation? You look at where the Riders are now. You saw what Chris Jones did. Is it? And of course, with all the fines that happened, the team fined $65,000 for the roster violations and losing $26,000 in salary. Like, do you feel like the stress is just kind of mounting up at Chris Jones? And I guess was it just a part of his blow up, BJ?
I think it's just adding up, and after having the season he did last year in Edmonton, I think it's just building, and it's just coming to a boiling point. And with that statement, I mean, I've coached sports, and being on the winning end and losing end, I've been on both ends of the spectrum. And when you're getting blown out, you hope that the other coach wants to hold back and show a little bit of class, and be on the other end, you want to do that as well. So both sides of the spectrum, I mean, it's hard to say. I mean, it's tough.
Like, I guess, was it because of Bo Levi Mitchell's tweet? Like, I don't really understand why he told him to win with some class. What seems to be going wrong here?
I'm not really sure. I mean, the game, yeah, they won by a bit, but it wasn't like it was a full-on 54-4 blowout or anything. Yeah. That game was actually reasonably close for a while. So, I think obviously the man's frustrated and he doesn't really know what to do anymore. And, I think he was mad probably at Bo Levi for pointing it out, because if you look at the league, the way they handle their practice roster and stuff like that, I mean, obviously the Rough Riders aren't the only ones of guilty on stretching what is right and what is wrong. Mm-hmm. But maybe they're doing it a little bit more blatantly than some of the other ones. So I think that, if, as a league, I think that they need to put some pretty hard and fast rules in what's right and what's wrong for everybody. And I think, they went after the Rough Riders because they were the most blatantly obvious of it. And with that going on, and then another loss, and I think, whether it was right or wrong, he was frustrated and took it out probably on the wrong guy. But, hopefully he's big enough man that if, he can say he's sorry or, something like that. I'm not really sure.
There's obviously some gray areas in those rules, like in every sport, and it needs to be cleaned up there too. So
they're pretty blatant with their reasons, and they got fined for it. So all right, let's move on to Alex Rodriguez, a guy who's also known for some controversy. Officially, I wouldn't say he retired, but was officially let go. Played his last game as a Yankee on Friday. And now there are rumblings with the Miami Marlins losing Giancarlo Stanton that they need a new bat. Here comes Alex Rodriguez. His publicist said no, and he won't be playing this season. But do you see maybe Alex Rodriguez playing baseball in 2017, BJ?
I would say he'll be at home in Miami in 2017. That's my opinion on it. Just simply because he's at home and he'll be around family and friends, and just some of the reports that he wanted to be around family and friends. I could see him being around family and friends, being close to home. That's my opinion.
You think he still has enough juice in him?
Well, I mean,
Well,
the man.
no PEDs intended. but what do you think?
Well, I mean, obviously the man could still play ball at a level that maybe a lot of players would love to be playing at. He's not, where he once was. Obviously, I think he could come in and do well in that situation. But I guess it's up to him whether he wants to go out now or later. You take the risk of coming in and maybe not having the season to finish off that you want. But as it sits right now, I mean, he's going out on a bad note, so I don't think it's out of the question.
Well, there you go. As long as he's making that money from the New York Yankees, still owed $27 million.
Yeah.
You might as well play for free for another team.
Yeah.
All right, guys, we're going to take a commercial break. When we return, we're going to talk about Gary Bettman and his recent battle with a U.S. Senator coming up.